Hi, this is I'll Explain. This is another I'll Explore where I will compare the old HGC gun barrel with the new Gundam Breaker Gunbarrel Striker. Now, obviously, the Gunbarrel Striker in the Gunbreaker version is not completed like the old one, but there are enough major commonality that we can compare. First thing first is the lack of the so-called cockpit or fuselage from the Gundam Breaker version. Actually, before that, the Gunbreaker version comes with the Gundam Breaker 4 game. It is sort of a early release of the upcoming Gunbarrel Striker, but the upcoming Gunbarrel Striker in the optional parts line would have complete features like the old Gunbarrel Striker. But the one that comes with the Gundam Breaker 4 game only have some supplement parts. But before we get into those, because they are sort of side auxiliary parts, we will compare the Gunbarrel Striker themselves first. Obviously, the Gundam Breaker version lacks the fuselage cockpit head of the Gunbarrel Striker, but it is replaced with this block with two 3mm ports, so you can expand more on it, and we will see that when we get to the when we do the comparison for or review, a bit of both. When we do the review, we will see how that works when we review the whole Strike Gundam. For now, it is a different part compared to the original Gunbarrel Striker, which is the fuselage of the support mech itself. Let's pull the attachment plug and compare them. The one on top is the old Gunbarrel Striker. This is the attachment part to attach it to Strike Gundam or daggers, or even Acessories, Gundam Acessories, for their ports at the back. They do have a bit of spacing to lock in with the hole at the back of the Dagger Strike Gundam or Gundam Acessories, while the new one, it is a similar design, but it is a bit shorter for more cross compatibility. The old one have one large block on top to lock in, while the new one have two little wings on the back. Both of them have some mechanical sculpture, so even when you unplug them for display, you can still see some details. So overall, a slight improvement for compatibility, although it is not hard for you to shorten the original plug for that. But, welcome change either way. The old one on the left, the orange one, use a PC part for the hole, while the new one have a PS slot which would be tighter but would worn out faster, although the PC one would degrade in extreme climate. So for people living in colder region of the world, the new one is definitely a improvement. Do note the similar structure of both, but there are a few key differences that makes the new one a lot more, how should I say, fun to play around, while the old one is a lot more slick as we start taking the gun barrels apart. But for now, both are not that different, to be honest. There's few ratio changes here and there, but overall pretty much the same machine. We did compare the Gatling gun before we assemble it, and now we've both assembled. It is basically the same design, with the new one being slightly longer and probably larger, just by a smidge. Tiny bit bigger, but not by much. The bottom fin is movable for both old and new. Not much difference in their structure either, just some feature that's kept, so good. I do want to have a bit more slick shots of the GunBarrel Striker before we take out the gun barrel, because it will turn a bit skinny when we do it. So let's pull out the gun barrels. Quite a bit skinnier, just like a sort of a speed rocket, which kinda still works as a support mag. Pulling off the gun barrel on the new one. Simply a brick. Putting them next to each other, you will notice the old one uses a proprietary dual tape prong to attach the gun barrel, while the new one uses standard 3mm plugs. So it wouldn't be as pretty when you pull them away, but this new design do enable you to attach display effects that I don't have here, but that give you that option, and also ability to attach other things on here, other like weapons or wings with the 3mm port. So you can customize this new version quite a bit easier compared to the old one. I did talk about this in the unboxing comparison, that the old one have this intricate sculpt on the thruster nozzles. The new one actually have them on the fuselage part, so you can see it's purple here. You can't really see it on this camera, but they do have some detail sculpted in, so if you painted something like silver, it would look rather nice. Not a well, it's definitely an improvement for people who paint, but the old one is not inconvenient either. You can sort of dry brush it to get the details. The new one obviously have, now the new port obviously is 3mm. You can plug in any effects or additional options if you would like. Oh, I should also talk about the rudders, sort of, or the main wings. They are basically the same, but the new one is attached with 3mm ports, while the old one again is a proprietary slit. So I can put this wing up here. It's silly. It would hit this. It got a bit of clearance actually, but yeah, you can do this on this new one. Very customizable, and you can attach other things on this port. So again, the new version, the option parts version, it's more about playability, customization, while the old one is being slick. So move to the gun barrels. Starting with the closed gun barrels. Same story as the main body of the GunBarrel Striker. The old one is a lot more slick, while the new one you can clearly see a hole for the cover of the gun barrel, and the new one is slightly larger, but otherwise pretty much the same design. The side thrusters got a bit of change and the sculpt, but otherwise pretty much the same design. Thruster, once again, the old one, the old gun barrel have a nicely sculpted thruster nozzle, while the new one is a two-parter, easier to paint. Well, not easier to paint, easier to do color separation, and have a 3mm port for effects. Obviously, the old one here have much tighter attachment points, so harder to see, while the new one is a 3mm port that you can't miss, but also easy to attach on stands. So again, more playability on the new version, overall slickness for the old one. Gun barrels opened up, same thing, rail guns poking out, slightly longer for the new version, but it is slightly larger too, so the overall ratio is the same. You do miss the little hydraulic arm inside for details. The same hole, if you can see here, is used to attach to the inner cover of the gun barrel, much like the old one really. But the old version does give you a extra hydraulic arm, extend arm for the cover, while the new one does not. Now, do note the Gundam Breaker version is released a lot earlier than the actual option part, so it is possible in the future that we will see this arm being added back on the option part version again, but for now it's missing, and it just leaves a flat surface, while the old one have a bit of sculpture that you can add detail on. So once again, very nice display centric for the old version, while the new one, pure playability, simple. Both railgun Yeah, railgun pretty much have no change other than the length for themselves and the tab inside. The cover also have a similar design, the inner cover. So yeah, not much difference there either. Yeah, this, like, I can understand why they do away with this, because there are some tensioning issue if you play around with this, but not like it's not falling out. It's just when I have it rolling around in my hand and knocking on the cover, it's not as stable as one large slot. The new version have a large tab alongside the length of the sort of the cover flip, so there is a much stronger attachment compared to this side tab of the O. But the O is not bad, it just, you might have problems knocking it about, but you know, you shouldn't. It's a model kit after all. Still, better playability on the new one. As for option or accessories, the Gundam Breaker version come with these extra attachment. Pretty much do what you want. Extensions that you can plug it anywhere on the Gunbarrel Striker. You can plug it on the side like this. You can plug it on the side like this. Or you can use the holes up here and attach it like this. So again, playability first. While the old Gunbarrel come with a stand. This extra arm is specifically for the 105 dagger, and this stand design is specifically to hook onto the Gatling gun. And then, in fact, I should show this too. It even have a little hook for the attachment, and then this tab plug into the Gatling gun, and then you kind of bring down the rest of the Gunbarrel Striker, which sort of hooks into the back of the stand. So it's very solid despite being tiny tabs. Another feature of the stand is that it holds the extra cover arms extensions and the railguns. Like we have talked about before, the railgun on the new version have a much longer attachment tab compared to the old one, but the old one is pretty solid either way, and this stand just have a very good fit that you just push these parts in and it will keep at the underside. So continuing the theme, the old Gunbarrel Striker is a slick machine support craft on its own, while the new one is pretty much a very Gundam builder centric. Oh, I should talk about more Gundam builder centric things. The old Gunbarrel Striker, these four wings, four sort of main wings or wings to the gun barrels, have a through plug that keeps them locked very tight together, while for the new version It is just held with one 3mm port and some indents in the front. So even the wings on the new Gunbarrel Striker is another builder Gundam breaker feature that, again, more playability. I need to watch out not to break this part. It is relatively thin, so yeah, watch out how you take this apart. Still, another port to plug things in, and for this I can plug in this now to give it a sort of bomber wing that I can load all sorts of things. In fact, I can attach a gun barrel here. Not the best connection, but you know, actually, let's put it here. Very customizable. I can even do this. Not sure what this entails, but you know, it's possible. Should it be done? Probably not, but it is possible. So this is the comparison of the old Gunbarrel Striker versus the new. The old one is a, like I said many times, a good almost scale model, to be honest, of a support spacecraft, a space warcraft in space, a attack bomber spacecraft in while the new one is clearly a Gunpla Lego 30mm Gundam style thing, or 30mm style Gundam thing that you can play around and have a lot of different builds with it. Thanks for watching.